What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 38 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin, coming to you live from my kitchen, and today I'm going to recap Week 11 of the 2020 NFL season. A lot of good games, so if you missed anything, listen up and pay attention. So I'm going to get started with the Thursday night game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. The Seahawks won that game 28-21. Kyler Murray had 2 touchdowns along with 269 passing yards, no interceptions. But what the Seahawks defense did really well was limit Kyler Murray from running around like a madman, because he's been able to shred defenses not only in the passing game but in his running ability too. And the Seahawks defense took that away from him. They took his ability to run and they made him throw a lot. And Murray actually hurt his throwing shoulder that game. So the Cardinals, it wasn't their night. As for Russell Wilson, he had 197 yards passing. He threw 2 touchdowns, one to Tyler Lockett, one to DK Metcalf. The Seahawks are now 7-3 as the Cardinals fall to 6-4. For the Sunday games, we had the Steelers beating up the Jaguars 27-3. Big Ben had 267 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. His receiver, Deontay Johnson, had 12 receptions for 111 yards. Chase Claypool, the rookie wide receiver, caught a touchdown. That's actually his 10th touchdown within 10 games. Very impressive. And for the Jags, rookie quarterback Jake Luton, he threw 4 interceptions to the Steelers defense. The Steelers remain unbeaten at 10-0 while the Jags fall to 1-9. They've lost 9 straight. Next is the Panthers beating the Lions 20-0. P.J. Walker got the start for the Panthers. He was an XFL quarterback. He came in. He played exceptionally well. He threw 258 yards. He had 1 touchdown passing, and he had 2 interceptions. His receiver, DJ Moore, had 7 catches for 127. The Panthers were able to run the ball really well, and their defense pitched a shutout. I thought this was going to be a higher scoring game, but I was absolutely wrong. The Lions couldn't even put points on the board. Panthers are now 4-7. The Lions are 4-6. Next is the Texans beating the Patriots 27-20. Sean Watson had a great game, 344 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he had a rushing touchdown as well. Cam Newton for the Patriots had a pretty good game too, 365 passing, he had a touchdown and no interceptions. And his receiver, Damiere Byrd, had 6 catches for 132 yards and a touchdown. Seems like every week now the Patriots are finally getting one receiver that's at least stepping up. That's something they've needed all year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but at least it gives Patriots fans some hope that they're finding certain receivers from next season who have potential and who could step up. So the Texans are 3-7, Patriots are 4-6. Next is the Titans beating the Ravens in overtime 30-20. Ryan Tannehill, 259 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Derrick Henry had 133 yards on the ground. He had the game-winning touchdown as well. Receiver Corey Davis had 5 catches for 113 yards, and receiver A.J. Brown had a crazy touchdown where he carried at least 6 defenders into the end zone. Lamar Jackson continues to struggle. He had 186 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Titans are 7-3 as the Ravens fall to 6-4 and continue to struggle. Next is the Browns beating the Eagles 22-17. Baker Mayfield, 204 passing yards. He did fumble the ball, but you don't need to pass really when you have Nick Chubb, who runs for 114 yards. Cleveland's defense also came up big. 5 sacks, 1 safety, a forced fumble, 2 picks, and 1 pick six. Carson Wentz had an awful game. 235-yard passing, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. The Browns, watch out. They're 7-3 as the Eagles fall to 3-6-1. Next is the New Orleans Saints winning over the Falcons 24-9. Matt Ryan, he had 232 yards passing, no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He played a poor game. And Taysom Hill got the start for the Saints. I thought it was going to be Jameis Winston, but it was Taysom Hill, and he played a really good game. He had 233 yards passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Michael Thomas was his favorite target. He had 9 catches for 104 yards. Saints defense showed up big. They had 8 sacks and 2 interceptions. The Saints go to 8-2. They've won 7 straight as the Falcons drop to 3-7. Next is the Washington football team beating the Cincinnati Bengals 20-9. Joe Burrow, I know you guys hear me talk about how great he is. He tore his MCL and ACL. He's out for the season. I feel so bad for him. Bengals fans, I'm sending prayers out to you guys. Joe Burrow is a stud. I hope this does not affect him in the long run. So I hope he could come back, bounce back, and play just as good, if not better, than he was this past season. So Washington goes to 3-7 as the Bengals go to 2-7-1. Next is the Chargers picking up a win over the Jets, 34-28. Justin Herbert, 366 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Keenan Allen had himself a game, 16 receptions, 145 yards, and a touchdown. Joe Flacco, he did all right for all the weapons around him and being a Jet. He had 205 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, but he did throw a pick 6. The Chargers go to 3-7. The Jets still winless on the season at 0-10. Next is the Broncos getting an upset over the Dolphins, 20-13. Tua Tagovailoa had 83 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. He was benched. He was continuing to struggle. He went 11 of 21 for the whole game. It was funny because the week before that, Tua said that the NFL was pretty easy. I'm sure he's singing a different tune right now. His receiver, Devontae Parker, had a nice game, 6 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Denver Broncos quarterback Drew Lock, he threw for 270 yards. He didn't throw any touchdowns, but he did throw a pick. The running game, however, for Denver really stepped up. Melvin Gordon had 84 yards rushing, and he had 2 touchdowns as well. Phillip Lindsay, another Denver running back, had 82 yards on the ground. As the Denver defense played their part, they had 6 sacks and 1 interception. The Cowboys getting a win for the first time in over a month. They beat the Vikings 31-28. Andy Dalton threw for 203 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Ezekiel Elliott finally rushed for over 100 yards. He had a receiving touchdown as well. And their second-string running back, Tony Pollard, he had 60 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. Kirk Cousins for the Vikings, he actually had a pretty good game. He had 314 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interception, but 1 forced fumble. As for Dalvin Cook, he did his thing too. He ran for 115 yards rushing. He also had a rushing touchdown, but he did fumble the ball. Adam Thielen absolutely shredded the Cowboys. He had 8 catches for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm just happy that the Cowboys finally won a game. It's been a month, like I said. So how about them Cowboys? They go to 3-7 as the Vikings fall to 4-6. Next is the Packers losing to the Colts, 34-31. Phillip Rivers for the Colts, he had 288 passing yards for 3 touchdowns and an interception. The Colts defense came out big. They had an interception, a sack, and 3 forced fumbles. Aaron Rodgers had 311 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. And his receiver, Davante Adams, had a great game, 7 catches, 106, and 1 TD in an overtime thriller. So the Packers and Colts are now both 7-3. Watch out for the Colts. They're definitely a sleeper team. Definitely, the league's got to keep the Colts on their radar. Next is the Chiefs beating the Raiders 35-31 in a shootout game. It was an awesome game. Pat Mahomes, 348, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Travis Kelce, his tight end, had 8 receptions, 127 yards, and the game-winning touchdown. Tyreek Hill, the Chiefs receiver, had 11 receptions for 102 yards and a touchdown. The quarterback for the Raiders had Derek Carr. He had 275 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, but an interception towards the end of the game. Darren Waller and Nelson Aguilar for the Raiders both had 88 yards and a touchdown catch each. The Chiefs are 9-1 while the Raiders dropped to 6-4. And for Monday Night Football, we had a great game between the Rams and the Buccaneers. The Rams wound up winning 27-24. Jared Goff had a pretty good game, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns. The 2 interceptions were his only problem. Cooper Kupp, the Rams receiver, he had 11 receptions for 145 yards. And Robert Woods, the other Rams receiver, had 12 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown. Tom Brady, he threw for 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. One of the interceptions is what won the game for the Rams. And Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, the Buccaneers wide receivers, they each had a touchdown catch. So that is it for the Week 11 wrap-up in the NFL. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to my page. Share and promote this page any way you can. I appreciate it, and have a wonderful day.